Hello everybody, it's Mr. D at In the Middle of Mr. D1 at Blogspot. And this is the first live broadcast this week. I think this way's okay, right? For the live sessions we're having every day at 9 a.m. Eastern. Have a little allergy going, so please forgive me for the bit of laryngitis I've got going. But today we're going to discuss tone, so that's going to be an interesting thing to discuss when we have a little laryngitis. But I'm going to give you some tidbits, and we always end with some specials in my store, and I tell you about those at the end. So we're going to go about 15 minutes here, maybe a little longer, and then I'll hop over to Facebook Live for people who like to use Facebook. You're welcome to interact, comment, let me know that you're here. I see Glad, I can't read the rest, just joined, and when you join, please let me know. I just say hello, and hearts are always a good thing. All right, so we're gonna talk about tone, and I'm gonna focus on 6th graders. Good morning. 6th graders and treble voices, because that's where I start, and I think that's a really key time to get what you want from them that will serve you well through 8th grade. So the first thing that I do with my kids is, and I think it's key, is modeling. Hey there, who is this? Phelps, Elaine, hey. Modeling, okay, and today that's going to be a challenge with my laryngitis, but modeling is everything from that very, very first day. So when the kids come in to my room the first day, for those of you who use S cubed, you know that I start right out with the first day, the game. So I model, as a male, I have to be careful because transferring the octave is almost impossible for those young singers. It's very confusing and unnecessarily so. So I don't really even deal, like I just sing immediately in my high voice. I use a pure, I'm checking my notes here, a pure, even, straight head tone sound with the kids when I'm modeling in the game Forbidden Pattern. So I'm using falsetto. For those who are trained sopranos, if you use a big old trained soprano wobbly voice, you're going to confuse them, and you're gonna make them giggle. So watch out for using that kind of voice. Just go right. I see the heart. Thank you. So I just tell them, as a male, I'm gonna sing high. This is not my normal voice. It's gonna sound a little weird to you, and then I just go and I model. When we're singing the game, so I could get a little tone out here with my laryngitis. Sol, mi, sol, for example, okay? So they're gonna model exactly what you're doing, and so it's really key. So forgive me, I'm gonna keep checking my notes. All right, so on the first day we play the game Forbidden Pattern. I make sure that I sing descending minor thirds a lot, like the one that you just heard. G to E is sort of where I just was, and that's a good spot for them to get them in their head voices. The intervals are simple. So when we're playing the game, one of the reasons I start out in the, thanks for the hearts, for the game using Sol Mi Sol as our first Forbidden Pattern is because I want them to have to sing a lot of minor thirds. So I'll play around with that, go Sol Mi Fa, Sol Mi Re, all these things using Sol Mi, which I think is very common. People agree with me on that in the intelligentsia of the world, in choral world. Through the game, I can quickly find the students who are stuck in their chest voices. So usually they pop out of that habit quickly because they hear. I play the game a cappella with them. If they don't pop out of that chest voice sound, that sort of monotone thing that we hear in the first week or two with me, I find time one-on-one with them, and I make sure that I help them locate their head voices. I use the sirens and things that we probably all use when we're doing that, trying to get them into their head voices. But for those students that are kind of monotone, and I'm hearing it in the game and we're singing Forbidden Pattern, we have to help them feel the difference to get into that head voice. It's not enough to talk about it. It's enough, we have to help them experience it, and then we have to have them sing some of those minor thirds pretty consistently one-on-one, and then we're like, got it, that's it. You see how that feels? That's what you've got to do. And once we get them to feel it, they usually stay out of it pretty well. But you will have one or two that don't, and you have to work a little harder with them. So number one is modeling to develop that tone. Hello, I see Fayan just joined. Thanks for joining. Number two thing that I do with developing the tone with the young 6th graders that walk in my room is that I teach listening skills, and we have to do that deliberately And some of the ways that I do it, I use a lot of a cappella work. I rarely get behind the piano, and only when I have to. And part of it is because I'm not that good at it. But the other part is that I want to be close to them and I want to listen to them. So, for example, we all use rounds and cannons and things. I do a lot of a cappella with that. I teach it a cappella, and then I have them sing it back to me a cappella. Even with the literature, I use a lot of a cappella singing. And the reason I do that is hello, Kelsey, thanks for joining. I want to develop solid unison tone with 100% pitch accuracy as possible. It's key, and we have to help them learn to listen for it. Too often, I think we push them into 2 parts and 3 parts singing too early, and when we do, they're not developing that tone. Thanks for the hearts. Hi, Mark. So we've got to really focus on unison stuff. And so with my 6th graders, the first 9 weeks, and we do cannons in 2 parts. Hello from Russia. Hello, Mark. Thanks. That's a long way away. And what time is it there? Oh my gosh, it's really late. Early. I guess late. It's like afternoon probably, right? The listening skills are key. So I use this. I'm going to show you this little bullseye. And those of you who use S cubed, you know. But I use this bullseye with them. And I put it on the board. I draw it. And you can project it as well. And I will have them sing scales. That's a big part of S cubed. A cappella. And I'm usually starting around C sharp, D, D sharp, or E. And I vary it. For those of you who use S cubed, you know I use varied but comfortable do. But this is a time when I can model and help them. Hello, I'm sorry, I'm having a problem with the connection. Sorry, that's okay. It'll be on YouTube after. I will sing the scale for them, and I'm going to try this with my little laryngitis, but I'm going to model the sharp singing. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, and they hear that immediately. I'm not going to go with the rest because of laryngitis, but that fa sticks out to them and they giggle and they love, we want them to giggle and learn. And I will point to the sharp side of the bullseye. And then sometimes I will I'll play like a G. And the red of the bullseye is where I want them, right? And I will sing. And when I have 2 hands available, I will go right back to the piano and just hit that note over and over and over again. But today I had to handle that with a phone. We have got to teach listening skills because that pitch accuracy is really an impediment, obviously, to good tone production. So no matter how pretty some of them are singing, they're not going to sound great if they have some sharp singing, which is very common in this age group. We sing a lot of a cappella with hand signs, and I teach the half steps between. Here comes my cat, so I apologize. It's live stuff here. If he jumps in my lap, forgive me. So there he is. Hello, kitty. That's Odie. All right, so the teaching listening skills is the second thing that's really, really key. The third thing that's really key to developing that tone early on is mouth shape. I want the kids to, of course, get that tall mouth. And one of the things I say frequently to them is north and south with your mouth, east and west is not the best. Anybody else out there use that? If you do, hearts. If you don't, start using it. It's great. When I model singing that way to get the tone that I want, thanks for the heart, I talk about spread tone, and I'll show you what I mean by this. I'll sing the word love with my little laryngitis. Love, which is the tall tone that we want, right? And then I'll tell them, some of you sound spread when I'm listening to them. Love, and I'll make them sing an entire song that way, and they love it, and they laugh because they think it's funny, and they sound like Mickey Mouse. So then afterwards, I'll say sing with that tall tone. For example, we sing Birch Tree. See the little birch in the meadow. Lovely laryngitis, if you're familiar with that. Hello, GL Ward. Thanks for joining again. You're the bomb. I'll have them sing the Birch Tree with spread tone and then with a tall tone, and then they learn north and south is what they want. So, and again, those who are just joining, I have laryngitis, so forgive me. I like to also work really hard to get ooh in every tone. Ooh, and I draw this circle over my head, right? This really helps them understand the type of tall, resonant sound that we want in every tone. Ah tends to go spread, and so I tell them when they're singing ah to put the ooh in it. Ah, sorry for the laryngitis. Ah, this is what we're working on. We're reinforcing that mouth shape. So far today we've talked about modeling with laryngitis, teaching listening skills, right? This is really key, and mouth shape. And so we're going to move into breathing and phrasing, and that'll be the final thing that I kind of touch on today. The tone quality of the younger singers tend to breathe very high and shallow, and we have to deliberately teach them about the importance of breathing. And of course, we can do all kinds of breathing exercises, and I'm not going to go into all of that today, but their breaths are so shallow that I do always, work on getting it low, and I show them the difference, and I put my hands on my chest, and do things like that I'm seeing that are incorrect when they're doing the breathing, and then I'll put my hands low and I'll have them touch their body and do that. But again, I'm not going to get into all the details of the breathing. What I do is I draw an arc for a phrase, like we'll use birch tree again. I'm sorry for the lovely sound with the laryngitis, but see the lovely birch in the meadow, see the trees are dancing when the wind blows, like that. And that gets them really realizing, when we're doing longer phrases, we do this as well. And when they're doing songs with quick breath, this is where the breath goes, right? And we're trying, hello, thanks for joining. I see Junkfrau just joined. This is something I use throughout with the literature, just getting them to realize that we've got to breathe together, because that affects tone when they don't. Hello, when they don't breathe together, kids, and it's very common in slow pieces, right? And if we teach it with a fast piece, and we use something physical like that, then they begin to learn the importance of all breathing together. The younger singers learning to sing in their head voice will drop out constantly if you're singing a really good morning, hips, her, Donna, hello. They are always going to breathe in the middle of those phrases, and then the tone will suffer and we'll lose energy. So when we teach this kind of thing, something physical, to help them learn when to breathe, they will take that into 7th and 8th grade, when I notice that the 7th and 8th graders really do lose energy if we haven't taught some solid technique in 6th grade. And if you've had that same experience, Hearts would be great, because they, I definitely noticed in 7th and 8th grade, yes, thank you for that, they lose energy. We have to help them get the kind of the importance of the breathing in the 6th grade. And then we can talk more technique and mechanics of breathing later when they're older and ready for that. The kinesthetic thing is what helps them with the breathing, okay? So finally, to wrap up the discussion about tone and some of the things you can do to help your tone with your young singers, I cannot emphasize the importance of building a solid foundation in that 6th grade year. Not rushing into hard music. Teach them to listen. And that's something we do really in S-Cubed a lot. I mean, it's more than a sight singing method, right? It's like, it improves their tone quality. They learn to listen. There are things in S-Cubed that you can do to help the tone so much in addition to the sight singing. So teach them to listen. Get the overtones in their tone when they're young in a unison fashion. Yeah, thanks for the hearts. And then you get to enjoy the fruits of that gorgeous tone that you create young. And then when the bottom drops out on the boys' voices, because you know how that is. And if you have experienced it, hearts for that, because it drops out at the end of 7th grade, into 6th grade usually, and they start going crazy. But you've already taught them how to listen. Hello, Yvonne Scott, thanks for joining. You've already taught them, and hello, Glad, I can't say the rest. They've taught them how to listen. You've taught them how to deal with, good tone production early before that bottom drops out. That's why I wanted to talk about treble. Everybody wants to talk about boys. And I've done a little bit of that already. Good morning, Yvonne. But the boys' voices, that's a whole different animal. Do I do a lot of unison singing during the first semester in 6th grade? Absolutely. Almost exclusively. Thank you for that question, Gio Ward. And please, if you have others, please ask. The 6th grade is actually the first half of the year is almost entirely unison. The only time I do part singing with the 6th grade is in very simple rounds, because what you'll notice when they do the rounds, if you do something too complex and they're not solid and they don't have good listening skills yet, then you're going to hear those kids that wander, in the pitch, and they're going to go sharp. And if you allow them to sing sharp, or if you allow them to wander and you're trying to do 2 and 3 parts too early, then they're going to just get used to that, and they're going to get used to not listening. And that is, I said 4 things today: modeling, teaching listening skills, mouth shape, and starting with breathing and phrasing. If you don't teach them to listen really, really well, you're going to pay that price through 8th grade. And you're still going to have a few that sing sharp, some of the time. And that's just part of middle school. When do you introduce part singing in 6th grade? I do, again, rounds, very simple rounds, even first 9 weeks in 2 parts. But I make sure they're really getting the listening skills going. They sing unison songs first 9 weeks. They sing unison songs second 9 weeks. They encounter part singing with the rest of my choir, because we do some joint things in 7th, in our concert in December, 7th and 8th grade. So they kind of get exposed to it there. And then for festival 9 weeks, which for me is third 9 weeks, that's when I have 2 part singing that is definitely part singing. And it's more, I try to pick something that's sort of like a canon of some sort. I'll give you an example. Drunken Sailor works great with them. I know the subject matter is controversial, but that's a very simple piece for them. And I try to pick for our adjudication, which is our festival, something unison that is simple, and then something that has a very simple 2-part with it. And then when they go in the sight singing room, they have to do 2 parts, because I choose, the Georgia rules are that you have to sing 2 parts in sight singing. And I want them to do that, because I want to lay the foundation. Too often, if you're building a house, you don't rush to the pictures. You don't rush to the, to the pretty stuff. You have to build that solid foundation. Otherwise, it's gonna get thrown apart, and you're gonna deal with that through 8th grade. And you're gonna wonder why they're still singing sharp, and why the boys' voices don't work. Any advice on how to make voice sound more mature, lower in tones? The low tones are, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but the low tones are harder for them to hear. I think the most important of the 4 things I've talked about today is teaching those listening skills. So if you're over here banging on the piano, and they're got to sing like a low A, and they're singing sharp, the problem is they can't hear. They've got to be able to hear. Or if you are, using a recording for your accompaniment and they can't hear those low tones, the bottom line is that they can't go much below middle C in 6th grade with ease. And you can't expect it to be too full, otherwise you're going to get in trouble and they're going to start using those chest tones, and then you're going to have to get rid of that. So that is, low tones are hard. They just got to hear. They've got to be able to hear them. So play the tone, and you can let them use light chest voice there, but I wouldn't even talk about chest voice that young, because then they'll just try to take that up, and then you'll get in trouble. What activities do you use to help with listening skills? Everything I do with listening skills is in S-Cube Middle School Sight Singing Program. Lesson 3 is where we really get into listening skills. I talked about, you're welcome. I talked about, earlier in this, I talked about how I sing sharp on purpose sometimes, and I use this bullseye. And I use my finger to point up and down and glide up and down to help them realize, like I did this earlier today. And that's the bullseye. and they laugh and they think it's funny, right? And that is something that really helps refine their ears a lot. So I'm gonna, if you have any other questions, shoot them out real quick because y'all are active today. I'm glad. And remember, tomorrow's topic is, I'm gonna jump to Facebook Live. I'm gonna tell you my deal for the day. I am 52, really old. But tomorrow's topic is getting your students to watch you. So I'm gonna share some of the activities at 9 again. And then Wednesdays is Smiling Before Christmas. And then Thursday, I'm gonna talk more specifically about sight singing techniques that I use. Today's deals in my store, if you want to find them, you just Google. It's Music in the Middle with Mr. D. I have 2 places. Can someone learn to sing at an older age? Of course you can. Yeah, definitely. So on Music in the Middle with Mr. D, TPT, Teachers Pay Teachers, and TES. Okay, so I have Thanks for the Hearts. On TES right now, if you Google that, TES, Music in the Middle with Mr. D, you'll go to my store, and the middle school new chorus teacher starter pack is $19, and it has tons of information about how to start the school year. And it's only $19. Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming. I think it's Glenda, but Ward, thank you. You can find also in my store for 2 hours only, the Lesson 1 Forbidden Pattern is free. So if you go to TPT, Music in the Middle with Mr. D, Lesson 1 is free for 2 hours until, I'm going to keep it on there till noon because I think I'm going to go long on this today. Go download it, get it, because it's fun, and I talked about it today. I do it on the very first day of school. And then for 2 hours, the big bundle, How to Teach Sight Singing to Middle School Beginners, is $99 for 2 hours until noon today. It's normally $209, actually $219, it just moved up. And in the middle school new chorus teacher starter pack is normally like $69. So $19 is a good deal, and you'll get a great start for the new year. And tell anybody you know, because I'd love for them to join us on these Facebook Lives and Periscopes and interact. But if they don't, it's right there for anybody to find. So please go and get it. $99 is a steal, and I'm going to probably do that this week after each one for 2 hours, each one of these sessions, okay? And then it pops back up. But thank you for joining, and I'm going to head over. Yes. I'm glad you love S Cubed, Donna. Thank you for using it. I'm hoping it helps lots of people. All right. So I'm going to try to talk for another 15 minutes on Facebook Live, and maybe I'll see some of you there. All right. Thank you, Yvonne, and thank you, Elaine. Thank you very much. Please tell more people. I want lots of people to join. Okay. Take care.